Hey, hi, hello. I know I don't really do talking videos on this channel and I've only barely gotten back into video making, but I thought I'd put some thoughts on Pokemon Sword and Shield since I did this speed paint of my team for the game, and everybody wants to hear about the many things wrong with this game. But, yeah, I guess I'm throwing my hat into the ring even though I don't think that many people are gonna watch this, but I still feel I need to get this off of my chest to some extent. Because my best friend still hasn't played the game, and as much I'd like to rant to her, I can't. So, anyways, well, let's get into it. Just to say really quickly, I actually avoided most of the spoilers, most of the leaks, most of the trailers for this game prior to it coming out. It was mostly just me trying to build up excitement, because I really enjoyed finding things out in games that I didn't see coming. It makes me feel, I guess, excited. I'm kind of scared. I remember when I saw Araquanid for the first time in Pokemon Sun and Moon, I was mildly disturbed. And I got to have a lot of that in this game too, so I'm really happy. And I think that my favorite thing about this game had to be the Pokemon designs. I mean, a lot of them were really ridiculous, especially the fossil Pokemon. I just don't know what they were thinking, but it is kind of funny. But I will have to say that the majority of the designs work for me. I loved the Galarian forms, especially Galarian Corsola. I like Galarian Wheezing, as weird as it is, and as much of a Willy Wonka parody it seems to be. And I have to say that the starters, I was worried about the starters. I know most of us were. I mean, Scorbunny looks like it was going to be a fighting type, and even now, I have to remind myself when I'm battling that it's not a fighting type. You're not going to get one shot by this Corviknight. So I have to give the game points for that. I think they did a really good job. I, like everyone else, is kind of disappointed that they sort of murdered the National Dex, but I mean, it was bound to happen eventually. I believe we're at 1,000 Pokemon right now, or at least getting close. So I don't blame them for doing that, but let me, like so many other people, I think they should have done a lot more with the Pokemon that they kept. Because a lot of the models have just been reused from games, at least since X and Y. And a lot of them still feel just really lifeless. I don't know how else to put it. I mean, I would have liked Pokemon following you around in the game, because clearly they did the time to put in overworlds. But I don't know how that would have looked. I mean, it could have been more of a mess, and I think they may have made a good decision, because this is their first big exploration on the Switch, not counting Let's Go, Pikachu, and Eevee, because I don't count them. So, I don't know, I feel like they could have done more with the sprites, at least add a little bit more animation life into them. I really liked the idea of having flying Pokemon sit down when they're not doing flying actions. I would have loved more Pokemon to have, I guess, better actions for certain moves. I mean, Cinderace, Scorbunny's final evolution, it can learn Electro Ball. And I was kind of hoping that they would make it look more like it's kicking a ball, but you don't get that. You don't get this variety in Pokemon moves or Pokemon animations, aside from a few basic readying positions. So there's that. What else do I have to say on this? I have to say I liked most of the characters, I think. I mean, Hop kind of got annoying after a little while. He felt like a watered-down Hau, if that makes any sense. I liked Hau in Pokemon Sun and Moon, but Hop was either too similar or too distilled from him, that it didn't really fit anymore. And I feel like while they did have some decent motivations for him being behind Leon as his brother and having so much to live up to, that a lot of the time they just made him seem way too, I don't know, I feel like he would have done better to be more of a beady type character, someone who thinks that they're entitled to the life that they were given, entitled to the power they want. On Beatty, though, I have to admit I really liked him. I did see him at least in one trailer, or it was in like one preview. And I have to admit he looked like a jerk, and he is a total jerk in the game, don't get me wrong. But I don't know, he felt like he had a lot of personality. I liked him, I liked watching him grow. I saw the thing with him and Opal coming like a mile away when she mentioned she's likes pink and she's looking for someone to replace her. That was just 10 out of 10. I loved it. Mildly disappointed I couldn't have been her prodigy because she complains I didn't have enough pink, but that's all I was wearing, I swear. So I loved that. I also loved Marnie. I mean, I know that a lot of people were calling her best girl since the beginning, but I really enjoyed her. I loved how she got tied in with Team Yell. I thought she was like a singer or something when I saw that they were big fans of her, but to have them supporting her from their hometown, especially a hometown that's so dilapidated, makes a lot of sense, and it's honestly kind of sweet, even if Team Yell causes so much trouble. Another thing about Team Yell before I leave this, though. I find it really interesting that in a lot of cases they were backing Pokemon up, like that snake Pokemon and I forgot the name of the turtle, but that they're backing them up and they're trying to take care of them. I thought that was really interesting, and it gives you kind of a hint early on that they're just some chill dudes and gals. I don't know. I thought that was a really nice touch. Another thing I thought was pretty good, or at least a very nice flavor to the game, was the fact that so many characters had like British dialects and phrasing. I don't know. I thought that was so funny. I couldn't believe it. That's a 10 out of 10 attention to detail, even though a lot of characters I didn't understand what they were saying half the time. I think something I saw was like your pants with direction. I don't know. I thought that was funny. Now I just really want a Pokemon game set in somewhere like Mexico, where I can just see that same level of detail in the dialect. I mean, I actually live on the border, and you hear some funny things and some funny phrasing, so I would love to see that in a future game. So those are the things I have to say I really liked about it. I mean, I also consider the curry making and the fact that you can camp with your Pokemon to be very nice traits they added. But I, like most people, have a lot of issues with certain aspects of the game. The biggest for me has to be the story. I mean, I know a lot of people have probably talked this out by now. I haven't really seen too many of the videos. Though I have to say, even if people are talking crap about this game, I wouldn't blame them if they're referring to the story. Okay, so, spoiler alert, la la la. Big story of the game, or should I say big motivation for our villain, is that Chairman Rose, the person who's kind of running most of the region, is secretly evil. Who'd have guessed that? I actually didn't guess that. I really didn't guess that. Because there's really no build-up to that. He just sort of pulls this stuff out in the third act. Not even like a good third act twist villain. But it just seems unearned. In case you haven't played the game, again, like I said, his goal is to basically cause a bunch of Pokemon to Dynamax across the region, because that's supposed to bring about the Darkest Day, a day in Garlarian history when the region was almost annihilated. And he plans to do this with a Pokemon that I'm shocked I didn't see in any trailers or anything, called Eternatus, and that thing looks creepy. And I have to admire that design, but again, it's not earned, it's not built up to. You just battle him and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna release this Pokemon, y'all, and I'm gonna set it out, and the thing is, he thinks that this is gonna solve the energy crisis from all the energy released, and I'm like, bro, you can't solve an energy crisis if the region's destroyed. So I don't really see what he was thinking. It doesn't even matter what he was thinking. I probably wouldn't have cared as much if he linked into this a little bit sooner. Everything I just mentioned, it doesn't really come into play until after you've gotten the 8th gym badge and after you're just about ready to beat the game. There's no build-up, you have no indication, at least with Sun and Moon and other games. You still had other stuff to do before the game goes into full climax mode. And after, you still have a lot more to do. So it just, I don't know, the whole ending felt very unearned. You, no joke, you beat the game at this point in 2 battles. Because you have to battle Chairman Rose, and I love his music in that, don't get me wrong. And then you have to battle Eternatus, technically twice, and one of those is with the legendary Pokemon of the games. I believe it's Sakian and Zamedzetta. But then after that, it's over, and you're like, okay, great, we did this. Battle Chairman Leon? Okay, not Chairman Leon. Battle Champion Leon, and then you're off to the end of the game, and that's it. That's it. And like, I mean, I can probably phrase this better, but if you've played the game, you know what I mean. It just doesn't feel earned. Like, even when I thought we were getting somewhere, because that's the point where you're told that Chairman Rose and Leon are going to be talking somewhere and you need to meet them and you can't meet them, that Oleana is Rose's assistant, starts sending her, I guess, grunts to you from Marcos Cosmos to stop you from meeting with them. You're thinking, oh no, he's doing something to Leon, he's gonna do some evil plan, something else is going on. And then he's just like, oh, sup. Yeah, we've just been talking. Leon doesn't really agree with me, that's fine. Have a good battle tomorrow, y'all. And then everything doesn't happen until you're about to battle Leon, and then everything I just mentioned, and the game's over! Yay! Well, that was a waste of time. I feel like this game would have actually done better to ditch that entire plot and just make it a straightforward Pokemon League battle. I mean, that's what they were doing the majority of the game. This just felt like they were fulfilling an obligation to include the legendary Pokemon. And don't get me started on the post-game, oh my god. Okay, post-game, you get these weirdos with some freaky hair. Swordward and Shieldbert. It's something really weird. And their whole thing is like, oh yeah, we're descended from the people who founded Galar. You gotta make us our king. You gotta make us kings. And I'm like, okay, you do that. And I almost feel like this would have been a better plot to the main game. Maybe change their designs a bit and then say, oh yeah, the main plot of the villains is that they're trying to take over Galar in order to become a royal family at the head of it again. And I'm like, okay, could have rolled with that. I was hoping the post-game would have a little bit more sustenance. Silly me. Because again, you kind of fulfill the battle with them really quickly. And it's just, okay, what was the point of all this? Oh, I get the legendary. That's great. I mean, it's cool that your Hop, see how similar they are? I call him How all the time. Gets the other legendary, which is, I guess, great, good for him. Then the game's over again? Because you literally get the That End title twice. And I think that's so ridiculous. I actually have been thinking, and I've been talking with a friend about this for a while, that I kind of want to do, I guess, rewrite the ending in a way I think makes more sense, or at least rewrite, like, the second half of the game. Probably starting, I guess, I don't know where I'd start. But I think that there's better ways that this game could have been written story-wise, and I might make a video on this in the future. So I guess keep an eye out for that. I'll probably do another Speedpaint set with it. But still, I have mixed feelings about this game. I'm still gonna play it. Obviously, I mean, I had to have beaten it to make this, right? And I love the Pokemon team I have, but I just wish they'd done more with it. And that's probably the thesis of this video. As rambly as this is, in all honesty, this wasn't scripted, which you could probably tell. But when I script things, I tend to sound like a robot. So, yeah, let's see where this goes. Anyways, if you made it this far, thanks so much for watching. You're welcome to subscribe, I'm not gonna make you. Part of this is a weird venting thing for me, and for me to just get a hang of video making again. So yeah, thank you for listening to my thoughts, and if you'd like to hear what I have to say on my ideal ending and ideal story of this game, maybe stay tuned for a while. Anyways, this has been Sarah from The Last Unicorn in Oz, and I am going to be leaving now. Goodbye.